beta version of Design Space, Cricut's Print Then Cut has been updated to remove the majority of the registration lines. Don't worry, we will go over it all. My name is Kelly, and let's get clacking. The maximum size for a single print and cut has been increased a tiny bit. For those using letter, the size is now 6.81 by 9.31 inches. And for those using A4, the maximum size is 16.73 by 25.41 centimeters. Now that is the maximum size for a single image. Though at this point it does not take into account the extra size that we gain along the sides and on the top and the bottom from where the registration marks used to be. Because yes, we are now able to use that space. Now this is currently under development, so there may be some small changes that you might see from live to when this video was filmed. So it may look slightly different on your end, but I will absolutely be keeping you up to date on all of the changes, so be sure to subscribe to this channel for updates and Cricut tutorials. So even though they have increased the size of the printable media that you are able to use with Print Then Cut, you are not yet able to use the maximum size in a single image, because for some reason it doesn't have the option to have a single image the size of the cuttable area on the page. Now I am hoping that this will change in the future. I know it's not an easy thing to develop and work on, so I'm going to give them a little bit of grace and be very excited for all of the changes that they're going to make to Print Then Cut in the future. I'm already super happy with these changes, so I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth too much. Now, of course, even though you aren't able to use a single image that is the maximum size of the print and cut area, we are still able to use all of that space that we have gained. You are, of course, able to place your images anywhere inside the canvas where the red dotted area is. Previously with Print Then Cut, we were able to easily add a shape to the canvas and make it the size of the maximum Print Then Cut area. Now, because the new Print Then Cut area size doesn't conform to just a plain rectangle, we have little bits that crop out on the sides and on the top and bottom. So using up the most possible space on our canvas has become a little bit more tricky. So we may need to change the way that we optimize things on our canvas to use the most space on our page effectively until this issue has been resolved, or maybe we just get used to it. I've actually developed a template for both letter and A4 to help guide us as to where we can place our images on the little shape that I have created to be able to use our Print Then Cut space the most effectively. And I will be sharing links to that project in Design Space in the description. So make sure to check out the Design Space projects, make a copy and save your own so that you are able to more easily use up all of the space on your page. So how I'm tackling this method now is I take the shape that I have created and I actually add it to my canvas from another project, or I just open that project and save it as a new project. So I can go save as, and then I can type in the name of the new project, just so that I'm not saving over the template that I'm using every time. Then what I do is I make sure that it is at the back of all of my images and I place it in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And as you can see, I've already made sure to optimize the space, and I like to call this Cricut Tetris because for me it is, when I'm making cards and things like that, I try and fill up all of the available space that I can have to make fun little embellishments that I can put on cards. But however you choose to tackle this is completely okay. All roads lead to Rome. So as you can see here, I've used the gray shape as a template to make sure that everything that I'm putting doesn't overlap the edge of that border. And it's like that the whole way through to the bottom of the template. Now, of course, if we had to just attach this like that, Cricut would provide us with an error saying that our Print Then Cut size is too large. So if I scroll to the bottom of the layers panel, you can even see there it has an error saying that it's not supported by the Maker 3. The image is too large for your A4 size, which is what I have selected this for Print Then Cut. And it says that the maximum size for this shape is 16.73 by 25.41, which is the size that I gave you earlier. So I either need to reduce the size of this image or change the page size. So we can't change the page size, that's not going to help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that one. And in order to get this to print on the same page, because we know that it'll fit on the page within the border lines, is I'm going to attach it in 2 separate bits. And it's quite as simple as that. So I'm going to click on the screen somewhere in the middle of the canvas and drag over all of the elements that are in the top half of the canvas. I'm then going to right click and I'm going to flatten those objects just to make sure that they are all within the same print then cut section. And I'm then going to move it away from the rest of the images. I'm then going to do exactly the same. I'm going to select all of those, right click, and then flatten. And we now have 2 separate print then cut bits that we can use. So when you click make it, it will actually put it onto 2 different pages. And it turns it sideways because it's not able to fit within the parameters of the page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move it to the middle of the page and I'm going to use the rotate button while holding in the shift key on my keyboard. That's pretty important because then you'll be able to snap it to perfectly change to 90 degrees as opposed to being like 89 point something, and then it'll throw out your change. If it is slightly misaligned, it will automatically snap back to this and it won't stay unrotated. So we have to rotate it like that, and you'll see how it stayed like that. If we were moving the object and it was up against the red line like we can see there, it's right up against the red line. If we rotate it without holding in shift or without moving it to the middle of the page, it will automatically snap back to the original orientation. So we need to make sure to move it to the middle of the page, hold down shift and click on the rotation arrow at the top, and then it will work properly. Now we can just drag it to the top of the screen and you'll see that it fits there at the top. Next, we click on the second page because we now need to move this one to the first mat. And of course, this process is a little bit longer now, but that's what we have to do to use up all of the space on our page. And I'm going to click on the 3 dots in the corner and I'm going to select Move Object. And I'm going to move it to the first page. So I'm going to click on the first page and then I'm going to click Confirm. Now it's on top of the previous one that we already had there. So I'm going to just move it again to the middle of the page. Same thing, hold down Shift, click on the arrow key and rotate it. And now we can move it to the bottom of the page. And you can see how it has now very nicely lined up perfectly on our page. So now we have made use of pretty much the full sheet of our new paper and all of the extra space that Cricut has given us. We can now click Continue and print it out. If this is the first time you are using the new print then cut, you will need to calibrate your Cricut first. So you will see an error like this that pops up on your screen that says you need to calibrate, and then you can either click Not Now or Continue. It doesn't matter how many times you click Not Now, it will not let you continue without calibrating. So just suck it up and calibrate, and I'm saying that mostly to myself because I clicked Not Now about 40 times. So make sure that you have 2 pieces of copy paper handy so that you can print out the first calibration sheet and go through the whole calibration process. It'll prompt you step by step through the process. If at any point you get lost, just cancel everything and restart the process again. Then you'll be able to begin the registration on your machine and cut out your beautiful little images, whatever they may be. And hopefully they will come out as perfect as mine did. I think this is probably one of the best print and cuts that I've gotten, and look at how much I was actually able to print on the page. I'm very excited for this new change. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and help it spread to more people. If you are looking for some print and cut tips, make sure to check out this video here, as it'll take you through so many of the tips that I've learned in my print and cut fails. I'll see you there, and remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.